We're going to go back to the year 1998 here as we look at the tragic murder-suicide where Phil Hartman was killed by his, at the time, wife. She killed herself shortly after with her two young children in the home. Bryn Hartman took Phil Hartman's life, shot him 3 times, and then, after leaving, going to a friend's house and coming back, took her own life. This happened on May 28th of 1998 in Encino, Los Angeles, California. We're not just going to take you inside of the story. We're going to show you a little bit about who Phil Hartman was and what he did and how he passed away. We're going to show you where the home is and where it was located. Phil Hartman was probably best known for his comedic performances and different characters that he played on both Saturday Night Live for many years and also on the hit TV show The Simpsons. He did 19 different characters' voices. Phil Hartman had graduated California State University, Northridge, CSUN, CSUN, with a degree in art and design, and he got some of his first gigs designing album covers for various rock and roll bands. Wife turned murderer, Bryn Hartman had been at the Encino, California, less than a mile away from their home at the time. She had been to that Buca de Beppo restaurant inside of the bar and had a few drinks. Her toxicology report later indicating traces of alcohol at a pretty high level of 0.12, also cocaine and Zoloft. The Zoloft was not found to be any means of motive or cause of her losing her mind to the point where she killed her husband and herself with her two young children inside of their Encino, California homes. The children only 6 and 9 years old at the time. Upon the friend discovering the dead body of Phil Hartman, he then insisted that they called 911, and that was done. When the police showed up, they went ahead to escort the 6 and 9-year-old child from the home. When they did that, a single gunshot was heard from outside of the residence. I'm not sure why they left Bryn Hartman alone, but she had taken the gun, the same gun she murdered Phil with 2 shots to the chest and 1 to the head. For some reason, they left her with that gun all alone in the house, and she blew her own head off. The children's custody was later. They were kept together but remanded to a relative. Phil Hartman was noted for not only his various roles on Saturday Night Live, especially famous for his Bill Clinton impersonation. He also starred in quite a few films, a couple with Sinbad there, like Jingle All the Way and House Guest, both films with Sinbad. Having done 20 different voices for the hit situation comedy The Simpsons, Phil Hartman became quite a household name. And if you didn't know the name Phil Hartman, maybe you knew Troy McClure, one of the various other guests he played throughout his career on The Simpsons, such as Troy McClure, Lionel Hutz, Fat Tony. Before gaining notoriety on Saturday Night Live and The Simpsons, Phil Hartman, as prior mentioned, was in a lot of movies, including Cheech and Chong's next movie in the year 1980. Later in the early to mid 1980s, he was in such films as Spaceballs and The Gong Show movie. He shortly later on went on to do such films as Ruthless People and The Pee Wee Herman Show theatrical edition. He was also in movies like Three Amigos and The Coneheads. His final film that he ever made before he was murdered was Small Soldiers. And although he wasn't always the lead role, Phil Hartman made every role he was in, every movie he was in, just that much more funny. And now we go to the tragic scene of his untimely death. Alright guys, so we're on the street right now. It's kind of eerie already. We're going to the house where Phil Hartman was murdered by his wife back in the day. And then she ran off to her friend's house after that. And then they came back here because they didn't believe that she had shot and killed them. Their 2 young kids, I believe they were 3 and 6 at the time, were still home. She left them alone, came back. Police showed up, and as they were removing the children safely from the home, she shot herself after having shot Phil. Right here. As I approached the home, I could feel the hair on the back of my neck beginning to tingle, goosebumps forming on my scalp, an eerie, dark feeling lingering, still to this day, some nearly 26 years later. So you can see it's a quaint little house. But it's tragically sad that Phil Hartman died here. Tragically sad. Me and the bear are not happy about that, are we, Bear? No. It's funny they have a sign, do not block the mailbox. This is a fucking house. Let's take another look at it. It's big. It's not super huge. It's a corner house. It's right here on Encino and Embassy. Okay. Let's see that way. Gosh. It's like the garage of the same house. So this is still the same property. It's pretty big. Oh. We got a gate there. This is not it. Is this it? Yeah, this is still it. I'm just gonna get a bird's eye view if we can. As you can see, it's a decent sized property. It looks like the property line goes quite a ways up until this wall where this house is. And again, that's the backyard and that's the back of the house where Phil Hartman was killed. See a better angle. See, it drops pretty. It's a corner house, but it's kind of modest, even though you can probably fit 3 or 4 cars here. Still, for a celebrity of his status, it's a pretty flowers. There it is, folks. Home is where the heart is. Home is where Phil Hartman is. I'm sure they get a lot of this. Just love it. But, yeah. This is me at the house Phil Hartman was murdered at. His wife tragically took her own life after killing a man, Phil Hartman. Hey guys, I wonder if he had all these tchotchkes in the front yard. Probably not, because it was a very long time ago. Yeah, I don't know. So, I can't remember the year, but there it is again. It's a really cool little mailbox, huh? Sure is. They're pretty strict. They don't want you blocking their mailbox. I don't know why you would. No, this isn't the entrance. You guys see that ghost in the corner? I swear I saw a ghost. Watch. Maybe they're just like, who is this guy? It's an actual person. Phil Hartman. And I'm not by any means making light of it. It's just eerie and I wanted to show you guys. I wonder what this thing's all about. Strange sculpture. The natives are getting restless. They're all looking at me funny from the house now. I'm not doing anything illegal. That'd be the front door of Phil Hartman's old house. A super extreme close-up. Yeah, the curtains open so you can kind of see inside. It's kind of creepy though, so I don't want to. But you know, they bought the house. I'm sure they got a good deal because of the double murder. You have to announce
during the escrow process.
There's some cool bench there. You'd think they have a tribute to Phil Hartman somewhere, but
They don't.
So this is my tribute to Phil Hartman, one of my greatest heroes, somebody I literally grew up on.
And interestingly enough, it looks like, oh, that's the whole property. That's the whole stretch right there. All the way down. See that? So that actually it's quite excessively large. You're looking at a good 80 yards, almost a football field, maybe further. And this is part of the property still. All the way to that back house. You know? So I'm not a paparazzi, I'm just curious by celebrities and intrigued by them. But look how far back that goes. That's really far. It's a big lot. Then again, he was a very talented man. So he earned this big lot. He definitely did not deserve to be shot in the face and chest, because nobody deserves that. But R.I.P. Phil Hartman. May you rest in peace, my friend. Subscribe and like and comment, notifications bell. And rest in peace, Phil Hartman.